Hello and welcome back to another episode of FTB Sky Factory 2.5. My name is Twin Minds, and today we're going to do stuff. It's kind of a scattering of stuff, so again, no real theme here, but there's going to be a couple things that kind of stick together. So first things first, we're going to go on some tangents, but there will be some linking to those tangents, don't worry about it. I want to build a thing. Yes. Just a brief dip into Thaumcraft here. I'm not quite ready to do more of it. I have the materials, I just don't think I'm mentally ready quite yet. But I do have one thing I want to make, so let's do that. I've got my little crucible ready here. I have encircled it because it can get messy. So let's make a mess. What I'm going to make is the balanced shard. And the balanced shard is made in the crucible using what is essentially 2 of each aspect. 2 of each -1, and then the last 2 come from the shard. See, the shard has 2 of that type of essence in it. So ultimately it doesn't matter which one you swap out, it just has to be all 6 essences, 2 total of each. The good thing about the Crucible is that you can do a bit at a time. I hope I can do as much as I want to do here in one shot. It does have a limit on how many essences you can throw in there at once, but I don't know what that limit is, and there's no way to tell for sure. There's no counter or anything like that. So I'm just going to throw stuff in and hope it works. So gunpowder is my, my fire and darkness. Feathers are my air, and clay is my earth and water. And then I'm throwing Ordo in here because I didn't have a good source of Ordo for any of the regular items, so that's how I'm doing this one. This is 12 total, 3 of these at 4 each, 4 of these at 3 each, and 12 of those, and then 6 of that for the 2 each. So, here goes, and hope it doesn't blow up on me. Good. Good. That didn't go in. That's still not going in. Interesting. Come on. Uh-oh. Okay, I got my 2. I'm causing all sorts of messes on you. Why isn't that working? Well, that's unfortunate. Something went wrong, and it's not taking the rest of my gunpowder. And all of a sudden, all of my aspects are in there, and I don't know what happened. So, to clear it out, you need a wand. And I think, oh dear, I think it's just a shift right click on the wand to empty it. But there's the flux. So sometimes the flux goes up in a gaseous form, and sometimes it goes down in a liquid form. So that's why it's ringed in here. So I got 2 of the 6 that I was expecting to get. Okay. So let's try that again. Let's see if I can count differently this time. So I've got 4 and 1 of each in the clay form. So let's do that. And I need my feathers. Probably need more gunpowder. And then I need my Ordo shards. Oops, I also need a bucket, because I need to fill it up again. This is why I'm not prepared for Thaumcraft quite yet, because it's a little bit more work than I'm used to. So let's fill that up and get it boiling. So 4 of these, and 2... This is 4 each, so if I do 1 and 4 and then 4 feathers, that should get me 2 of the shards. If I put in 2 of the Ordo shards, because it is 2 each. So let's try that perhaps. So gunpowder, clay, feathers, and order shards. Nope. I'm terrible at this. Oh, I know what I forgot this time. I got fire, darkness, water, terra, and air. No, I had it all. It's just not good. Alright. Well, that's a good failure to start with. So, this is kind of why I wasn't ready to do that. So I'm going to scrap that plan. And scrap that plan. I wonder, can I scan it? Not now, because it's gone. Maybe later. So let me dump some of this nonsense. And go back to the second thing I was going to do. There we go. Alright, so the second thing I was going to do, which was going to be tied to that thing, is an exchanger. So the thing that I was trying to make was called a wand focus of equal trade. And it was going to do the same thing as the exchanger, and I was going to prefer to use the exchanger anyway, so how about we just do that? And to do the exchanger, I need to go through this mess again. So let's do that mess again. One of these. One of these. One of those. And one of those. Okay, so I got that part. I think I need to get an Eye of Ender. And then for the primary component, the Tesseract. So I'm going to make a few of these because one of the other things I wanted to do, which again, tangentially related, I was going to make use of some Tesseracts. So let's make a few of them. Sure, 4 is a good number. And then I need some Ender Pearls. 4 is a good number because these need to be filled in the Fluid Transposer. And it's 4 Ender Pearls for each one to be filled. So a stack of 16 Ender Pearls fills up 4 of those just nicely. I'm just going to wait for my first one here. The last bits can cook up while I'm doing other stuff. Oh dear, that is not fast. It's going, but it's not fast. Well, that cooks, because why not? I did another thing. So first off, you can see I decorated slightly with some hanging lanterns, so it could clear up the torches that were laying around and have just that much more essence growing. I have built some different types of essence. So I've got quartz crop here, because I was desperately low on nether quartz, so I figured why not start growing it. I've got diamonds going, so that tells you that I did do the diamond thing in the book. I didn't do the iron because I didn't need it, but I did build the diamond. Redstone, nether, coal, and obsidian, because those are all things that I kind of needed more of. Ultimately, I plan on popping those into their own farm, but for right now, I just wanted to get them started and moving. And what that does mean is I got quite a bit done. I got all of the levels of Infusion Stone, including the Master, which has infinite durability. You know, I was whining about that durability thing, but I pushed through that pretty quickly. Ultimately, now that I have the Master Infusion Stone, I can do all of the crafting that I need to make the essences that I need. And let's see if I can do the Iron Seed quick here to get that ticked off. Hey, what do you know? Iron Seed. Done. I'm not even going to bother planting it because I do not need iron in the least. I have iron aplenty in the form of 18 stacks of 64, so I don't need it. But it's done. Sure, why not? Let's see, where were we at with that? Iron seed, diamond seed, done and done. Wonderful. Always good checking some stuff off. And I spent enough time that these are all done. So let's make up that exchanger. And I'm going to go ahead and make all the rest of the tesseracts while I'm at it, which is just finishing off by surrounding with bronze and silver. Boom. Alright. And then my resonant exchanger needs a tesseract in the center. And done. Awesome. So I need to go fill this thing up. And I need to fill up my armor while I'm at it too. 10 million RF. Not nearly as bad as my suit, but why not? Now, if you notice here, the charge rate is 32,000 RF on the flux-infused jet plate, but I'm going well over that, because this capacitor doesn't care. It uses its limit versus the limit of whatever's in it. So, I like that. That's done, which means this is almost done. Perfect. I've used most of my energy, but this actually fills up quite quickly, so that's alright. Now, this exchanger, if you're not familiar, is a very nice gadget. So let me get some wood. I did grind up some great wood planks, because I wanted to use them for decorative purposes. So if you take the item that you want to replace and shift right click, it sets that as the target. It's up in the upper left hand corner there, but you can't really see it because of my other overlays and stuff. I'm not going to worry about moving that because I know what I clicked. Now if I shift, or if I just regular right click, it will replace all of the blocks of that, of the type that I just right clicked on with the one that I shift right clicked on. So now I can redecorate quite easily. Oops, ran out of them. So that is the resonant exchanger. I do ever so love it. And that's what the wand focus of equal trade would have done as well. It would have just used the aspect magical essence rather than energy. So that's why I was going to prefer using this one, because I have a lot more energy than I have in the form of aspects. Let me grab the rest of my wood here. Alright. All done redecorating that floor. Now this is by no means the final form of my base. I have a couple plans in mind here, but I did want to change out a couple of those things just to have a little bit of a different look here. And that is done. Perfect. So now on to the use of the tesseracts. What I was going to do is, first off, put one down here, like so, set it to number 1, and set it to main power, and have it set to send energy, and only sending energy. So main power, any tesseract that I set down and set it up to this channel, I can set it to receive energy, and it will always pull energy from my main power source. There we go. I actually set it this time, so now you can see that it's set with that lovely graphic there. So whenever I want to power something remotely, like if I were having problems with this thing over here, I could do that, and do that quite easily. So that's done. Now what I can do then is I could set a tesseract right here and cut this thing off from the main power source, but I don't really need to do that at the moment. But what I do need to do is create an import. because ultimately I'm going to want to start going to other dimensions, and it's kind of a pain to go back and forth and dump off my inventory, and it's also kind of a pain to build something in another dimension and get it back into my primary network. So I need to build an import, and I'm going to do it in kind of two different ways. The first way is obviously with the Tesseract. I'm not quite sure exactly how I want to tackle that yet. I do need another channel. Let's see. There we go. That'll do. Add that frequency. So this can receive items. So whenever I set down another Tesseract, I set it to send items, and anything I pump into the other one will come into this one. And then I believe I can get an import bus. I may be able to do it with an interface too, but yeah, we can test that. Let's do an interface. I will need this interface, and then I want it to be a flat interface. So hopefully this works. I haven't ever tested this specific setup before. Normally I have like some sort of intermediate chest, but if I plop that right there, it should. The interfaces are supposed to be able to take items pumped into it, and they go straight into the network. So ideally anything coming out of this Tesseract should go into this interface. I might need to do an intermediate cable or something like that, but we will see. Now to test that, let me grab something. It doesn't particularly matter what. How about Certus quartz? Why not? And then I need a chest. Let's do a hopper. Let's do a chest, because I don't have a hopper. And a couple item conduits. So if I come over here, plop down my chest and my conduit and my Tesseract. If I set this to main item input and set this to send items, these other options don't actually matter all that much. So send items. This will take items in from elsewhere, send them through the Tesseract over to there, hopefully. Actually, now that I think about it, Certus quartz are a terrible thing to check on because I don't have an easy way to tell the number of them. So how about blitz rods? So I had 9, I've got 4 in the network, and I have 5 on me. Whoa. So if I set this to extract, and this is import, I dump those in, they got sent over, and so did I got sent over as well. And I now have 9 blizz rods in the network. Perfect. So this little compact setup works perfectly. So now all I have to do is pump items into a Tesseract, and they go into the network. Now, I don't want to do that too much yet, because while I did add a couple more storage cells, that's going to very quickly overload my network. The reason I added these 2 actually is because these 2 are filling up very quickly. So I don't want to dump too much stuff in my network until I have methods to store everything. Now the methods to store everything is going to be a challenge. I've got 4 channels used currently. These cables can take up to 8 channels each. There are bigger cables that can take 32 channels, but right now I don't have a controller. And that's kind of one of the other things I want to take care of, is I do need a controller. I need an ME controller. I think I do have Skystone. I did that before. I've got Fluix crystals, ME controller. Perfect. Now, I don't need this quite yet, because I'm only using 4 channels of the 8. You can do up to 8 channels on an uncontrolled network without needing a controller. But I'm going to pop it down anyway, because. So if I do ever end up needing it, I can grab more channels. Not a huge deal yet, but I do need to keep this in mind because I want to expand my network very soon here. So let me take this down. Good. Now, the other way that I wanted to import items is through something that the book has told us about. Let's see, what are we calling it? There we go. It is called an ender chest, which I'm pretty sure I have everything. And then ender pouch. Here we are. Ender chest and ender pouch. Now, the way these work is you link them together. And you link them together through the colors on the top. There are 3 different colors, and you kind of use it as a combination code. Now, these are default white, so when I open up the bag, the chest opens up. If I were to change the color on the chest, this bag would no longer be linked. So, by default, they're already linked. I do think I want to have a unique color. And my unique color is one that I set up from a previous game, and it's just a color combination I like because I can remember it. Right. So purple, green, purple is a color combination that I can remember because I like both of those colors. Green in the middle, purple, purple. So, notice the bag still shows white on it here, and if I right-click, it doesn't open up. So to link them, shift right-click, and now the colors match up on the item there, and there. Perfect. So now I need to pick this up, and this is going to be my second form of input. Now what I could do, could and probably should, yeah, I think I shall. This interface can go. No, you know what? I'm not going to do that. I'm going to do that. And I need an import bus. Ah, that's right. This version changed up the import buses. Oh, I don't have any of those things. Awesome. I need a sticky piston, of which I need a different type of goo. That one will do. And I need one of these. I apparently am missing logic processors. There we go. Import bus. That's what I wanted. So this import bus goes right under here. Good. And anything that comes into this chest will get imported into the network. And we can test that out by throwing my chest in and my cables. Good. And we can look in here. I have my 3 conduit cables here. Perfect. So all of those things are now hooked up, but I do need to increase the speed of it a little bit, because you saw that was going one tiny item at a time, and that was slow as all heck. Fine. 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 Keep running out of all my stuff. So, acceleration cards. I do not know how many I need to make this effective. But I'll probably need all of them at some point or another, so here we go. And these are where the card upgrades can go. Looks like it is just one per slot, so if I do all 4 of those, that thing should be quick as a bunny. And it's probably easier to test that way. There we go. So it did a full stack at a time there rather than one item at a time that it had done previously. Perfect. I want my torches back. Alright, so that pretty much covers most of what I wanted to take care of. The other thing I wanted to do, even though my network is going to fill up fast, is plop this down right here. So it's set to item input already because it remembered what I had done to it before. And then I configure this to push out the top directly into the Tesseract. Perfect. So now everything that comes out of here will just immediately get harvested and pushed into the Tesseract. Ha! I forgot to mention this little thing here. This is a matic that I made to replace my hose. As much as I liked the crafting method of the hose, what it was doing was every time one of those hoses broke, it was making a breaking noise, and it was annoying me. So that annoyance was enough to make me do something else. So I made this obsidian matic using paper as the base and a thaumic component, because I couldn't make the heads out of paper, so I had to make them out of a metal. Paper and thaumic do roughly the same thing. They give you another modifier. So I pushed this thing all the way up to unbreakable, and now this thing can just sit in here and hoe all over the place and never break and never become a problem. So I can get rid of this setup down here eventually. Awesome. So that is done. By the way, that was leveled up through placing down endless stacks of dirt and then breaking them. So that's how I did that. Yeah, I think that pretty much covers it for today. A little bit of a shorter episode, but quick, concise, couple plans that I had in mind, and now I have my exchanger, so I can start decorating, and decorate I shall. One plan I have is to convert this into a primary building of sorts. Move some of these other things elsewhere so that they're not in the way, and then link them all through the ender chests and the tesseract. I almost blanked on the word there. Those two things right there open up a lot of possibilities for me. Now, another thing that you might notice, and I've noticed a couple times here, is I do get a little lag spike every once in a while, and my FPS drops a little bit. I'm not a fan of that. So some of these things that cause me FPS problems, namely this constantly running farm, my tree farm here, and even all of my cows, are going to be moved into the last millennium. So I'm going to do all of that off camera, because these setups are just a bunch of the samey nonsense, so I don't really want to bore you with any of that. But this whole setup will be moved into the last millennium, as will some of my farming stuff. And then next episode, I think I will tackle this beast. This beast is probably going to come down. So say goodbye, because he's probably going to die soon. But until next time, see ya.